Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I guess it just depends on what time you're logging in to listen to this broadcast. But I'm here bright and early on this beautiful day to share another one of Pam's messages. Pam Grout is my friend who wrote the book, A Course in Miracles Experiment, a starter kit for rewriting your mind and therefore the world. All right, so today's lesson is entitled Look Past Appearances. And I think this is really a great lesson today because I talk about this too with my friends and family and others all the time about how your map is not the territory. And by that, I mean, we each look at reality through filters, through our lens, our objective or subjective lens of reality, which is based on our experiences from and input from family, friends, the culture in general. All of these things result in us filtering reality through these lenses that can make us good people or bad people or people that just are not. It's amazing. Listen to this. Look past appearances. Man's concept of his world, built on the experience of the five senses, is no longer adequate and, in many cases, no longer valid. That's a quote from Shafika Karugula, who I wasn't sure about when I first read this quote this morning earlier, and I've looked her up since. She was a medical doctor and psychiatrist who took a special interest in psychic perception. She's born in Turkey in 1914. And she's a beautiful person. And so you guys should look her up and read about her if you get a chance today. Shafika Karagula. Now, to get to the meat of Pam's message today. The planet you call home is spinning at a rate of roughly 930 miles per hour. Amazing, huh? It's orbiting the sun at an astonishing 66,486 miles per hour. But unless you just polished off a few pitchers of beer, you probably aren't aware of any such movement. That's one tiny example of how we distort reality. Very early on, say sometime around birth, our minds establish a pattern of perception and then proceed to filter out everything else. Now, those patterns of perception, this is part of what I effectively reframe when I am leading my classes through flow. Flow is about cognitive reframing. So, in other words, we only experience things that jibe with our very limited perception. In E Squared, I mentioned the girl from the Philippines who said it was weeks, if not months, after arriving in the United States before she noticed that some Americans had red hair, including people she knew and dealt with on a regular basis. Red hair was inconsistent with what she had been conditioned to see and expect. So for months, she was subjectively blind to red hair, seeing it as the brunette of her culture. Our brains are designed to be efficient, not accurate. So we take the 400 billion bits of information. That is phenomenal. We take this 400 bits of information that are offered each second, and we begin screening. We begin narrowing. I'm pretty sure I read over the course of my lifetime at some point that of that 400 billion, that we only actually pick out about 40. You pick about 40, at top max 70 bits of information out of 400 million. So can you imagine the vast sea of activity going on outside of your perception, that anything could be going on and you just can't see it, can't hear it, can't feel it, can't smell it, can't touch it, because your body is in essence a prison. It's this limited built-in set of blinders to everything outside of what you have decided to accept as reality. Now I'm going to get back to Pam. I'll take that bit of information over there and let's see. This one fits nicely with my ongoing soap opera about the opposite sex. Lesson 92 tells me all concepts and judgments, all things I take for granted are distortions, and that true seeing only comes through light. It says I'd roll over laughing if I really understood the mental derangement that passes for thought. When I see through my eyes, which basically report a carbon copy of my beliefs, I see weakness, lack, division. But there's another way of seeing, through the strength of light. Today, I'm grateful that as I give up the hologram, I see with my eyes, I begin to see the radiance, the brilliance, and the love that shows up in light. So for 20 minutes today, 2 times, which is 40 minutes total, or just apply as needed, we're being asked to look past the appearances, to not just make these judgments about what we think is reality, to open ourselves up to the possibilities that exist. We live in a sea of infinite possibility, and it's up to each one of us to release whatever preconceived notions we have about reality, which means that if we're prejudiced, if we are hateful, if we are not grateful, we need to reframe our perception, and we will live a richer, fuller life for it. With that, thank you so much for tuning in today. Go forth in peace, love, kindness, joy. Share a smile with someone today because it will definitely lift their heart. And if it doesn't lift their heart, hopefully it would lift yours just to share a smile. Go forth. I love you. Namaste. Bye, everybody.